Hello everybody, welcome to My Hero Academia Chapter 339 review. This chapter is titled The Story of How We All Became Heroes Part 2. Now, if you remember last chapter, there was the whole Aoyama situation, or Aoyama situation that went on, and it ended off with Deku going to the support course and getting crushed by a Hatsume, who is also on the cover page of this chapter. And, spoiler alert, the chapter is about her. So, the chapter starts out with Hatsume going, "How's it hanging? And what can I do for you two?" Because if you remember, Ida was with Deku whenever he did that. And Deku is sort of in a little thing going, "Oh no, my danger sense didn't activate. I was caught off guard." As Ida just goes, "Oh no, Hatsume, we have come to you today to request costume repairs." And Hatsume says, "Why not put in a request to the item agency like usual?" And Ida says, well, the agencies are, there's been a disruption to the typical exchange of goods and services these days. We need to rely on the support course." And Hatsume says, "Well, you don't say. That makes sense." And Ida's like, "What?" And then Deku says, "Don't tell me. Is she clueless about the state of the world?" As Power Loader comes out and says, "Hatsume, I swear, what's with you needing explosions? Costume repairs? Come on in." And if you remember, Power Loader is the support course overseer. He's a hero. So yeah. So we get a look inside the research and development studio, and it is a mess. It looks like it can be completely trashed. And Ida says, "Things are a bit different in here." And Power Loader says, "I'm in charge of the R&D for the UA barrier. Maintenance too. Once each part is up and running." So, Power Loader's in charge. Deku says, "Mid-goblins, the latest compression tech. I need these guys fixed." And he also says, "These were prototypes for overseas, so I can't restock. Think you can work on them for me?" Hatsume says, "Is this a rush job?" And Deku says, "You bet it is." And Hatsume is like, "No can do." She says, with that level of damage, she'd need to remake the gauntlets completely, and she lacks the necessary materials to do it. So, and Deku just makes a joke saying that she's walking away at the speed of Nope, which, ha ha ha. And Ida says that he wants his armor repaired. And without the specification docs, Hatsume says she can't do it. So then the two other support course people say, "Don't sweat it. We can make what you need. We're in Hatsume's class. Thank you. We're in your debt." And Ida and Deku think, how curious though. Hatsume takes time to tinkering like a fish into water, so I assume she'd offer us aid. And Deku goes over there and asks her what she's working on. And it is the evac shelter blocks blasting off. And Power Loader says that he enlisted Hatsume to help improve the defenses of the UA barrier, and that she's working on concocting new mechanisms in case of mass evacuation. He says, like I alluded to before, her zeal and inventive mind put her in a league of her own. And Hatsume just goes and says, "Even in a perfect A+ idea could drop to an A- in a flash. When I think about a new baby, I gotta raise it right. That's some wisdom from me." And Deku says, "I get it. No wonder you're paying no mind to the world outside. You're laser focused on your beloved inventions. Pretty amazing, Hatsume." And Hatsume says, "Don't be dense, Midoriya. As dense as high-density polyethylene." Excuse me? I don't get it. And Hatsume says, "Of course, I'm aware of the nasty predicament you heroes are facing out there. We may not be fighters, but just like how you guys are trying every trick in the book to protect as many people as possible, we're tackling that in our own way. Inventing stuff is how the support course does heroics." And Ida's like, "Well, Hatsume," as we see Deku gets his gauntlets thrown into face. And Hatsume says, I couldn't replicate them exactly, but my babies are the latest and greatest. Please make them work for you. And Deku's like, gloves included? Neat. And he says, did your left hand just whip these two things up? Thanks so much. As we see that his face is completely sucked in from where Hatsume threw him at him. And the same exact thing happens for Ida, where she says, this is no perfect replica, and his face is crushed in. His glasses are crushed too. And the two people from earlier say, we were just about to take their measurements. And Hatsume then says, please give your Hero Course pals a message. Let's win this. As Deku and Ida look there and we're like, yeah, let's do this. As their faces are sunk in. Then Sero, Kirishima, Momo, and Mineta are there as Deku and Ida come out, and they say, that didn't take long, you two. And they are all getting things prepped and ready, and Ida says, they're just in time, thank goodness. And their faces are still sunk in. Then Mount Lady's also there, and she says, I've heard about what Class A has been through, but sadly we can't afford to waste a single day at this point. Our best case scenario is still finding and mopping up the Liberation Front and the League of Villains as soon as possible. That would solve this whole mess, and we're not abandoning the original plan altogether. Just standing around all dazed and confused is just playing to our enemy's hands. As Mina says, Aoyama, think he'll take that hand we offered? And Deku says, I have faith that Aoyama will come back to us. Bakugo says, assuming he ain't landed by some sort of course. And Todoroki says, I think it'll be fine. Because he has always had his sights set on the man he wants to be more than any of us. And then Mount Lady says, okay people, let's move Midori to the center of this operation. Class 1A of UA's Hero Course. Search Squad, assemble. And then we see, meanwhile, in the Kansai region, while we see that Nejire, Fat Gum, and, oh geez, I can't think of his name. Takami? Sun Eater, that dude. He should be in the top right of your screen with the volume number 16 up there. It's one of the faces on there. But Sun Eater, Nejire, and Fat Gum are all there, and we see that Nejire apparently has her hair different styled. That's fun. And she says, anyone hurt Sun Eater? And he's like, no. As people are all clamoring around him, because if we remember, he's shy. And they say, thank you all much. It's hard to believe those dang villains started tossing your weight around here out in the boonies. And it looks like Fat Gum says, well, folks, you can rest easy now. We'll get you on over to Shiketsu High. It's a real sturdy fortress, solid as UA even. As we see that people are messing with Sunny. They're just, yeah, it's a gag sort of thing. But we also see Ryukyu's there, and she says, but fewer people means much less intel. We're in a tight spot. Fat Gum says, you know what this means. Gone are the days of slinging sneak attacks and raids at each other. Now it's the opposite. Both sides pulling out all of the stops, gearing up for a true blue all-out war on every front. As we see that All Might has a little briefing going on, and all we can see who is there is Hawks, and he says, so about our plan B, let's review the key info about the other battle that could decide it all. And that's the chapter. I mean, it's alright chapter. The majority of it all focusing on the Hatsume stuff and their way of being heroes is the story of how they became heroes is by making stuff, and that's the whole point of the chapter. And then we get to, oh, will Aoyama do the thing we offered? Sure. And eventually we get to, alright, no more sneak attacks. It's about to be war. And that's really all I have to say on My Hero Academia, chapter 339. I hope you enjoyed this review as the other ones, and This will be Glowplasma231